Welcome in. Hello. Welcome in. How are y'all? Can y'all hear me okay? Hey, honey. How are ya? Can you hear my voice okay? Is it picking up well? Hi, kindness. I'm tired. I hear ya. Hi, Melissa. Okay, good. Awesome. I did turn off the gifts, I believe, right? Yeah. Hi, Christy. Welcome in. Thank you for joining. I appreciate that. I'm just going to give a little bit of time. Hi, Texas. How are you? I didn't announce this live tonight. Who are you referring to, Crow? "56 hours. I hear ya. I had a long stretch myself. Yeah, I'm curious who Crow was referring to. Welcome in, Otto. Thank you for coming in. I have a little bit of music playing in the background, but I'm going to probably turn it down in just a little bit. I need to upgrade to the paid version so that there are no ads. I believe Rammer's coming in, and some more. I was kind of waiting for them to come over so that we can get started. I'm going to mute for 1 second and then unmute. Okay. Hi, Georgetta. Thank you for sharing the live. Appreciate it. Thank you for liking the live. Appreciate it. Welcome in, Will. Hi, Jules. Hello. Good to see you over here. Just a few more minutes and I'd like to get started, just to clear some things up. And I didn't announce this for a reason, so thank you. I wanted something kind of peaceful. There's been a lot going on, so I thought we needed something a little bit peaceful tonight. Okay, I don't want to have to. I wrote out what I'd like to say tonight. Hopefully, I don't have to repeat it too many times because I do have someone else who would also like to speak as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with what I want to start with. Okay. So first, let me address the situation directly because it's been twisted into something that it never was. Is everyone familiar with what's been going on lately and the allegations made regarding me and the horrific things that have been happening on this app lately? And it stems from a certain individual. We're going to get into that. So first, I just want to say that no one needs to hold an awareness live on me. Apparently, certain individuals have been reaching out to other individuals wanting an awareness live to be held on me. What I had was a personal relationship. It was not a scam. It was not a community issue. And it definitely was not something that belongs in the same category as people who actually harm or exploit others online. Hi, Grace. Thank you for coming in. The man that I was talking to knew who I was. He knew private details about me, my background, everything except current photos. The only reason I didn't send him updated pictures was because of the unfortunate possibility that they could end up online. And sadly, my private information has. I didn't hide who I was. I didn't pretend to be someone else. It's not catfishing. There were gifts exchanged, and yes, I accepted some of them. He was very persistent about giving gifts. That's a pattern he had with another woman as well. The total amount, total, was $600 and some change over the course of 1 year. Welcome in, Cleavage. Over the course of 1 year, I make a significant income. I do well for myself. This was never about money for me. I didn't need it, and it certainly was not life-changing. But I'm going to be honest, I should have upheld the standard I expect from myself and from others in the awareness community. Even though this was a private relationship, even though I didn't ask for gifts, I recognize now that accepting them, it blurred a line. And I take full accountability for that. So here's the part that wasn't talked about. During this relationship, I performed and helped this individual in a non-official manner with personal, legal situation involved with himself and his family. Had he paid someone to do that, it would have cost him significantly more than double of the gifts that he sent me. He offered to pay me, and I told him absolutely not. He was my friend, and I wanted to help him. That's what friends do. I thought highly of this individual at one point. So anything that Mr. Oni gave me in gifts, which again, I admit I should not have accepted, it doesn't even come close to the amount of time that I spent helping him. This completely destroys the idea of catfishing. This completely destroys any claim of scamming, and it completely destroys the entire narrative being pushed. If we're being honest, and if we're putting this on a weighted scale of who did what for who, what I provided for him outweighs anything he gave me. It was more like if someone plows your garden for free, and later you hand them a couple of tomatoes or zucchini from the harvest, nobody thinks that's manipulation or exploitation. It was simply reciprocity. And honestly, I didn't even think much about it at the time. It wasn't a transactional relationship. It was two adults communicating, sharing, and helping one another. That's it. Period. When things went sour, and I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the chat right now. I'm just reading through my speech. When things went sour, he didn't handle it privately. He ran straight to my enemies. People who have hated me for years. He handed them private information that I trusted him with, that he swore he would never, ever share with anyone. This man doxed me, provided private details to people. These people who are known for associating with a registered SEX offender, they're using this information to go real life. And because of the nature of who he gave that information to, people who have already shown that they're willing to go beyond this app, I now have no choice but to involve the authorities. They ran their mouths. I let them do what they were going to do because I knew that they were obsessed. They couldn't control themselves. But when someone gives your private information to people with a history, go in real life, lying, stalking, and now knowing that they had a registered SEX offender tightly within their group, it crosses a line. And that's not pettiness anymore. It's called danger. And I want to be clear, I'm single. I'm allowed to have private relationships outside of TikTok. Excuse me. I'm allowed to talk to someone, to consider taking a trip with that person, or explore where something might go. I can't live in TikTok awareness mode 24/7. I did make a mistake in judgment, but it wasn't malicious, and it certainly was not a scam. Many people in the awareness community know exactly what happened. They also know that I'm not a scammer, I'm not a beggar, I'm not a dry beggar. I'm not someone who would prey on people. They know that this was a personal situation that turned sour, not a professional one. What should tell you everything you need to know is that the moment things ended, the first place he ran to was to KK, my biggest rival. That alone shows intention and motive. And for the people trying to compare my situation, a small amount of money exchanged over the course of a year during a genuine personal connection to their own history of being tightly associated with a convicted sex offender, protecting SP while she falsely accused people. The comparison's ridiculous. I own my mistakes. I shouldn't have accepted gifts, even in a personal relationship from someone that I met on social media. I'll never, ever do that again. Ever. But I'm not going to sit quietly while people who have lied, sat with SP, shielded an offender, whether they knew it or not, and ruined lives. Try to pretend that me accepting a few gifts from someone that I was in a private, personal relationship with is not the same thing. It's not even remotely the same thing. Oni and I cared about each other at one time. Now that relationship is over, and suddenly I'm a dry beggar? No, that's not the truth. That's retaliation. I'm accountable for my part. I've learned from it. But I will not allow my name to be twisted into something that it is not. I'm going to read something that I wrote to him when KK held her live. He sent to her my private text message to him. I sent this to him on November the 5th. She obviously didn't know all the contents of my message and was obviously quite shocked and only read a small portion of it. I have posted it on my page, but I'm also going to read it out loud for you guys. This is what I told him. I said, I'm letting you know that I spoke to Christy and know everything, and so does she. You lied so much to both of us. You shared information that you promised you would never share. I was wrong for trusting you. You lied to all of TikTok, and you told everyone that that's your house. Why? Why so many lies? Your obsession with Scotty also carried over to Christy, always accusing me of talking to him or meeting up with him, and even stating that it was driving you crazy. I told you that I was concerned about you when you began staying awake all night drinking. I even asked you if you were on rugs. Your behavior changed drastically. It's very concerning that you drove the U-Haul with a disabled man after being up all night drinking. I've posted the videos from his rewatch. You guys can see that. It's on my page. You put that man and others at risk. I did not share your D-pic with anyone, and I'll gladly share my phone with the authorities to prove that. I don't share explicit images with anyone. There have been many things that don't add up, including the random woman walking into your house and you claiming that she wanted to have sex with you. I was on the phone with him during that moment. Next, you had her in the truck. I was on the phone with him during this entire event. Next, you had her in the truck asking her to get out as you were freaking out about the police being nearby. You wouldn't need to worry about your character if you were a man of integrity. Any of my information that is exploited will fall on you. I was a good friend to you. That was my message, private text message. There's another person that's involved in this. I was made to believe that she was a dry beggar, and I almost held alive about this woman. I considered it. But then my gut told me something wasn't right. He shared text messages with me, but not the full text messages. There were things that I couldn't see. Um, he claimed that he had deleted things. He checked his cloud, or at least he claimed to, so they were no longer there. So I'm glad that I didn't. But this woman and I were like made to hate one another when we didn't know one another. I'm going to ask her if she would like to come up. Odie knows damn well I never asked him for any gifts. I never dry begged for lunch money. Never. He knows that's not true. Thank you, Christy.
Thank you.
So,
Well, it's a lot of information. Thank you, Will, that we've had to go over and things that we've unraveled and puzzles that we've had to put together as our heads were spinning at a lot of the allegations that were being brought up. And you mentioned how he tried to get you to go after me. At the same time, he was sharing every bit of information that he had about you with me, trying to get me to go after you. Like
yeah,
I'm not in awareness. I don't do even the drama part of TikTok, you know. I don't know if he was giving me that because he was painting a picture about me to you, and so he wanted to make me feel like I was protecting myself, thinking that you were going to be coming after me. Um, but either way, um, all the personal information that he was giving me, I didn't feel right about. Um, most of which was deleted. The only thing that was not deleted was I found in a hidden pocket of my phone that is not backed up but still had stuff in it that was the same information that was shared in the live about you. So it's my understanding that in order for him to be giving me all of that information and painting a picture about you, um, that's where I began to think maybe he was doing the same thing about me because he was sending me text messages of things that you had said, but he was leaving things out, um, making it seem like you were calling me a dry beggar, making it seem like you were making these allegations against me, not that he was painting that picture out to you about me.
yes, he even shared screenshots of your conversations with me. He also shared explicit images with me that you shared with him,
Yes.
explicit videos. And he was very giddy about it. He wanted to share something with me. He's like, "You've got to see this. Oh my God, you've got to see this." And he made it out as though you were always wanting to have phone relations with him. It disgusted him. It made him feel very uncomfortable. And when he shared those videos with me, there were two of them. He claimed that he hadn't looked at them. I'm like, well, obviously you've looked at them. You know what the contents are, you know? Oni would like a box. I think we need to clear this up, and I think Oni needs to be truthful and share with the community that myself and this woman did not scam you or dry beg to you. There are a lot of things that didn't add up over time. Let's get our information out. We're gonna let him come up, but I don't want it to be interrupted. We're gonna give you an opportunity. Don't worry. If you feel uncomfortable at any point, Christy, just let me know.
No, I'm okay. Um, he knows that, pretty much everything that's transpired. On July 24th, or I'm sorry, June 24th, he offered me money via TikTok DMs. That is on my backup account. There is a screenshot of that where he had offered me money on June 24th, and I said no. I had made a joke about a roll of quarters in someone else's live, and he was persistently offering money off and on, like, if you ever need anything, just let me know. Really, it's not a problem. It'll stay between you and I. And on July 23rd, so from June 24th to July 23rd, different sporadic moments that he had offered money and I had not accepted that offer. I did not share my PayPal with him. He had finally, on July 23rd, convinced me that he had wanted to gift me a Galaxy or something of the like in a live, but he didn't want TikTok taking most of it. And so I finally agreed on July 23rd to give him my PayPal, which now I realize was a mistake because then, there was more information that's tied to that account that he would have about me besides my phone number and all of that. He then had my name, which I have learned since then. He shared my first and last name, my phone number, and I'm not 100% sure if he shared my address with you, but I know that he did share those things with you. And so those things were immediately being doxed to a third party. Who knows who else? I don't know who all he shared that information with. So I received a $10 gift from him on July 23rd. Then he sent it to PayPal as for goods and services. You know very well who sent you videos. We'll let you talk in a minute.
Yeah, you're not going to control the narrative. We're going to get our story out.
I've already told people what I've done. You're not going to shock me. I'm an adult. It's whatever. You know how many you sent to me as well. So the $10
Which one?
was, you
He.
know,
Go
him
ahead.
convincing me that he wanted to send me something on TikTok but didn't want TikTok taking 60%. He was always asking questions about my business on TikTok. What do I make? Is it lucrative? Is it this? And I thought he was a friend and he was asking for that reason, not because he was trying to paint me out to be a dry beggar. I go into different rooms, I read poetry, I have sang, and there are times that when people gift me, I can make anywhere from $5 to $15 a week on TikTok. So, woohoo, I'm making a living off TikTok. So him convincing me to give him my PayPal, he sent it to me as goods and services, which immediately gave me access to his address because PayPal is going to give me a shipping address for goods and services. I was concerned about his address being out there and that if he is using PayPal, he needed to be aware that when he sends it to friends and family, it does not give you their address and more pertinent information, personal information about them. So I was concerned about him so willy-nilly putting his address out there. So later I would find out that that was me being upset because PayPal took 30 cents out of that $10 payment. I was not worried about the 30 cents. I was more concerned with the fact that this person who I thought was my friend is putting their information out there by sending money a certain way that other people who might not have had his best interest at heart would have known where his address was. The next day, July 24th, I did ask. This was the only time that I had asked for anything from him was on July 24th, and I needed gas money to go pick up my daughter from West Texas. Her landlord was meeting me halfway, and so it was 4 hours one way for me to oh, I'll tell you about the sick dog. I'll tell you exactly what happened with the sick dog.
Yeah, we've discussed this. I mean,
Yeah.
we've in uh,
Um,
a lot of time talking and putting pieces together of this crazy puzzle.
right. So on the 24th, I asked for help with gas. He sent me $20 for a 8-hour drive, which I was very grateful for because every little bit helped. I still had the $10 that he had given to me the prior day. So I did, I took care of all that. Come to find out, at that time, he had already sent the information about me being a dry beggar. And then he ended up within a few days blocking me, and I didn't even know what I had done. Hello, Jody. And so on that note, there were several. I have all the lists. Anyone can go to my backup, the Crispinity backup account, and you can see the entire list of every money transfer that was made from him to me. He had my phone number and was able to find a Chime account that I had forgotten I even had. I hadn't used it in 2 years. I didn't have a card associated with it. He sent money randomly to that, informed me that I had a Chime account. Um, we're talking about our good friend, Mr. Oni, Robin. So with that Chime account, when he sent me, I can't remember if it was $5 or $10. I can find that information later and I can post that on my backup. I sent the money back to him. Another time he sent another amount to that account, and I think it was $10. And it sat there dormant until one day I needed gas money, and so I went ahead and I used that $10 for gas.
She's
Um,
not denying. Chrissy's not denying that you.
I,
She's explaining the situation. She's not denying. Either
I'm
am I.
not denying anything. He sent me a total of about $150 approximately. Um, and that was during the course of about 6 weeks from July 24th. I'm sorry, July 23rd until September 10th was the last time that he sent any money to me. Um, During that time, we would be on the phone, we would be talking,
Yeah, I told him, Moni. Everybody knows.
and when I'm talking to somebody, if I have to go run an errand, I'm going to tell them I'm going to go run an errand. Hey, do you want to stay on the phone with me?
She's not.
Or do you want me to just let you know when I get back home? My daughter had ordered some Starbucks one day. It was a mobile order, it was already paid for. I'm in the drive-through picking up her already paid for order, and he tells me to check my PayPal. So I checked. I told him he didn't have to do that. I ordered a water because that's generally what I order from Starbucks. Um, Most of the time I make my coffee at home. But either way, I offered to pay him back the $150, and he said that he agreed with me that I didn't ask for all that. And this was a verbal conversation. I offered to pay him back the $150. There may also be a text conversation of this where he said, I don't want it, or I don't need money. And yeah, I love Let Freedom Ring. I love the Starbucks water. The ice makes it. But either way, there was one moment, and I explained this, that my daughter's dog had been neutered and his stitches were coming out. We were taking the dog to the vet. I mentioned to him, because I was running errands, that I was taking the dog to the vet. And the vet visit, by it being post-op, everybody knows this. I know this. I would not have asked for money for the vet visit. He may have offered gas money. I might have accepted if it was, I don't remember, because there's some texts that I don't have. So there's some recollection of things that I don't have. But either way, I was not trying to scam him by saying that I had a sick dog that needed to go to the vet. The dog's stitches were coming out. The vet needed to put some more glue on the area, and that was taken care of. I may have used the money that he sent if it was $10, $15, $20. Usually the money that he sent was increments of either anywhere from $5 to $20. But regardless of any of that, I had offered to pay him back. He said no. Now, when I do get the money, it will be paid back directly to him, because I will not owe a person of his caliber any kind of anything. He had repeatedly asked me for erotica poetry,
Mhm.
because everybody knows I write poetry. And there are several people that know that I write intimate poetry as well. Um, he never offered to pay for the erotica. He did subscribe to my account here on TikTok. And thank you, Yestida. Thank you. Um, so there was the idea there. There was no payment for the erotica poetry, which I've never even thought about,
Yeah.
charging people for. But the whole fact of the matter is that we did begin having intimate conversations in August. And after my boyfriend and I had broken up, and that only lasted for maybe, I don't want to put an exact time frame on it. It was maybe 2 weeks, maybe three, maybe 1.5. I don't exactly know. So in that exchange of events, I had received several videos and pictures which were deleted off my phone. Um, and I had also sent several videos and pictures which were deleted off my phone, which he thought was okay to share with other people.
It's okay. The chat's able to see what they're able to see, and they're hearing your story.
Yes. And I have, Oni, that's cute.
He doesn't have a boyfriend. The woman's been separated for what, 6 years now?
6.5 years I've been separated from my husband. So then that goes to ask you, why in the world are you messing with a married woman then, Oni? If you want to talk about character, you knew that all along. I've never hid that from anybody. I've let everybody on this app knows I've never hid that from anybody. He was much like you, Oni. He was much like you. But we're not going to get into your psychiatric profile. Um, Thank you, Will. Um, so after either way, the $150 at some point will be sent back to him, whether he says he wants it or not, whether he says that I owe him or not. Um, we got into an argument about how I was not asking him for the money, and he agreed with me and said, I know. And now somehow his story has switched over to him being a victim of not one, but two scammers within the same year. So it just, it's one of those kind of
Thank you.
scratch your head moments.
Right. Right. And when you guys first started going into his live, I'd voiced to him that it made me feel uncomfortable because I had shared, a lot of private information with him. And I didn't want it being shared out. If anyone believes this is wow, Oni told me that you were constantly wanting to have phone relations. It made him feel uncomfortable. He didn't even know how to respond when you would text him things regarding phone relations. And obviously, that wasn't true. He was enjoying it. This all started with Oni um, believing that I had released a D-pic of him. Oni and I's relationship wasn't like that. Like, we were really good friends. We talked a lot on the phone. I enjoyed our conversations. We laughed together. At that time, you know, cared a lot about Oni. I did at one time, but I've learned a lesson.
Yeah,
I've
and
definitely learned a lesson. Three
definitely.
things that, back to the D pic, our relationship wasn't like that. And one morning I woke up to go to work, looked at my phone, and I had one of those pictures. And I was surprised because I just like randomly received this picture with like no context at all. And I didn't even say anything to him initially because I just assumed and I giggled to myself about it. I'm like, oh, he's meant to send that to some other woman and accidentally sent it to me while he was fumbling with his phone. I literally just kind of laughed it off. But I had received a picture. Christy had also received that same picture. I don't know if that was the one that was released, but it was.
I wasn't in Martin's live that day, so I don't know. From my understanding, that picture or some pictures of him have been, by more than just us two. Because at that time, he and I weren't even talking like that. So the fact that he sent it to you on the date that he did, and then sent it to me on the date that he sent it to me, doesn't even correlate with it being, oops, I accidentally sent that to you instead of to Christy. He hadn't sent me anything at that point.
Oni was it was almost like an obsession with Scotty from very early on. There was one point in time where um, Scotty was calling me out when he was involved with Camper Crew. It didn't take him long to figure Camper Crew out. He left them, and Oni was just had convinced himself, I guess, that Scotty and I had this relationship. But he would text me things. For example, if I'm on work travel, he would say things like, "Yeah, so you're going to see Scotty." And I learned pretty quickly that I couldn't joke back about that because, like, I think in his mind, he genuinely thought that I have a relationship with Scotty, and I do not have a relationship with Scotty. I have never been to Scotty's house or anything like that. I've never seen Scotty in person. Um, and I think he was very jealous. I think Oni wanted to be Scotty. Like, that's what I feel, that Oni wanted to be Scotty. When Oni's behavior changed and he started like going into Martin's life and just going off on Martin, going off on Lake life and secrets and cursing these women out, like my mind was discombobulated. So I'm like, that's not the same Oni that I talked to on the phone. The behavior was not consistent with his behavior that I've known for a year on the phone. So I did. I genuinely felt, and then he purchased a soundboard. Scotty has a soundboard. He made sure to kind of nonchalantly or inconspicuously show that soundboard off when he was showing off his the items in the garage, like the boat. He enjoyed flaunting his truck. He even gave everyone a tour during his live of the house that's on the property. But he admitted to me that that's not his house. He's told everyone that that is his home. And he knows damn well that that's not true. So I don't understand the lies. Why lie? I don't know if you stay in the garage. That's where you're always at. There's a small section in that garage behind where the open sign is that you seem to go in often. Apparently, that's where you're having your lives at now, which would make sense if you're sleeping in that area because it's getting colder. You would need a smaller space to keep warm. But if people paid attention during the tour, they could see that the entry table, the pictures were very dated pictures, like you would see when you walk into your grandmother's home. The home is immaculate, like it's not lived in. Like you could eat off the floor of that home. It's that clean. Um, there are obvious pieces um, of items on tables during that house tour. And if people pay close attention, they could see that it didn't have his name on it. Tony, you know that's not yours. Just be honest. It's okay if you don't have like a big house. Not everybody has, a big, beautiful home. Some people live in very small homes, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't pretend like you have something that you don't. That's all. So, see, this is the behavioral changes. Like you can see him in the comments right now that it's very inconsistent with the man that I spoke to for a year on the phone, almost on a daily basis. Rarely did a day go by that he and I did not talk on the phone. At one point, close to the end of September, I even began questioning him about his work. Christy and I have compared notes and messages that he has sent her and also sent me on the same day regarding claiming that he was called into work. The times that he told her that he was called into work is not consistent with the times that he shared with me. He said that he works in PLCs, which no one knows what PLCs are. He does have reposted videos on his account about PLCs, so I don't know if he's being honest about working that type of job because the only thing he could ever really recite about PLCs are traffic, the timers and traffic lights, and in crosswalks. I began doing some research because I began questioning a lot of things. There was a question I'd asked him specifically regarding PLCs, logics, all of that. The answer that he gave me, I put the question into Google. The answer that I received was exactly the answer from Google. So I don't know. Um, can we move it to the shed? Is Oni the Epstein files? By the way, Catherine is in here. I was accused of being Catherine's account on account that she used, and it also said Catherine, but her profile picture was one that she used from a one of the websites that you take a picture and then it makes your picture into what it does. So that's really Catherine, and that was really the other Catherine.
Yes, T-Dam. Okay, thank you. Um, has Oni requested a box?
Hi, Catherine.
Hi, Catherine.
See, there. I mean, I know there are many things.
Yes, please do. Maybe if you cash app him for full videos, then maybe, just maybe, I'll owe him less than $150.
Yeah, yeah. And Oni made it sound as though I was dry begging. He knows. He knows I've never dry begged. He knew, and I told him. I told Oni that it made me feel uncomfortable because of what I do on TikTok. And Oni, you know that I told you that. It made me feel uncomfortable. I never asked you for gifts. When he and I started talking again, after Christy, after you started going back into his live again,
Hmm.
um, I guess at some point he the relationship was cut off and I received a random message from him. And the message says, I love you.
Hey, this is all I want to say real quick.
Mhm.
I don't care who you are, who you are. I don't care. Anybody that gets upset or has a falling out with somebody and sends personal pictures or threatens to is sick in the head. And you are not a man. I'm saying that right now, Ani. You are not a man. You are a little boy for doing that. That is disgusting. I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's somebody I don't like. It's disgusting. And only a little boy would do something like that. So I'm going to say it. You are not a man, Ani. You are a little boy. But that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Otto. Um, don't retaliate with Otto like that. That's what Oni has a tendency to do. Um, he can't handle himself in a civil manner. He apparently has an anger issue.
Did you request a box, Oni?
Well, you have to request a box in order to get a box. You have to request a box if you want a box.
And I will say this. I am forever grateful for what he did for Timbo. I'm very grateful for him helping Timbo move and get out of that situation and get into his new apartment.
Yeah, I think it's great that he was able to help Timbo. Unfortunately, just a situation, that I'd voiced my concern of putting him at risk because initially during that live when, Timbo had asked Oni if he could help him, Oni had agreed, but I guess it wasn't, Timbo didn't realize he was going to be moving like that very day. It was like he wanted to move like within a very short period of time, like a day or two or something, I believe. But it was towards the end when Timbo, said I can rent the U-Haul. I just need your information. I need your cash app. And he was going to cash out the money to Oni. And then Oni, even at that moment, and I know Oni, been talking to this man for a year, Oni realized, oh shit, I've just agreed to do something I know I've been drinking. He even told Timbo in that live, well, I don't know if I have a cash app. But yet he knew damn well he had a cash app. But at
Um,
that point he had already agreed to do it. But he should have, the responsible thing to do would have been to say, hey, you know, um, I want to help you, but let's do this tomorrow. He had been up all night long. He had obviously had some beverages. And Christy, you have something to say about that also, because he claimed that he wasn't drinking.
he claimed he wasn't drinking, or he claimed he wasn't drunk, and then he accused me of telling you that he was drunk when you didn't say that he was drunk. You said that he had been up all night in the live drinking. There was a distinct difference there, and even though the only way that he could have accused me of telling you that he was drunk was if he had already told me that he was drunk.
Yeah, yeah. And
And I
that,
believe,
I had voiced concern to Oni, when he began staying up. TikTok was obviously something that he wanted to become involved in. I go to bed early because I wake up early for work. So I need my sleep. But he just seemed to never sleep. He was up all night on TikTok and he was drinking more. At night, every night we were on the phone, he'd say he was running to the store to get dinner. And now I question whether or not it was really a beer run, which is fine. People can sit home and drink their beverages all they want. That's not an issue. I
we
have
don't,
an issue with anyone drinking and driving.
exactly.
Yeah, he never. My box never lit up. I checked. He has not requested a box. Um, I really didn't want to have to hold this live because I respect my friendships. I felt that I choose my friends wisely. This has been a learning experience for me, a lesson learned for sure. And we continue learning lessons all throughout our life, and this has definitely been a lesson learned. Unfortunately, it took
And I would like to bring out the fact too that he did accuse you of romance scamming him.
yeah.
And the entire time that he was talking to me, he adamantly swore up and down that you were not in a relationship together. Um, he and I were not in a relationship, but he did offer me at one point the gas money to come and see him in Kentucky. He also looked up flight air flight information, and just kind of threw the idea out there at one point. And then we dropped it. We didn't really talk about it. We talked about it maybe twice. Um, and then I did talk to him later about it after he and I were not really speaking intimately. We were just friends, and I did mention that if he ever wanted to talk about that again, that we could talk about that for, future reference. But the idea that to say that you were romance scamming him and then telling me that you were not in a relationship together, it just kind of was an inconsistency.
Definitely. In a way, I feel as though we were romance scammed, because he was playing two women at one time.
He was trying to use me to make you jealous.
hmm
But otherwise, why would he send the things to you that he sent?
And
You
he told
know,
me that he started talking to you because you were giving him attention that I didn't. And the attention that I didn't give to him was explicit images. I didn't have phone. Um, I didn't communicate.
Intimate
Yeah, I didn't do
conversation.
those types of things.
Right.
Yeah, and you provided that and something for him that I didn't. So it's just been very strange. It's all been very strange.
Um, I think the other thing that could be mentioned is the fact that um, the the talk of a trip together where you were willing to meet him
Yes, yes,
and
and I
he
told
didn't.
him that. Um, because he had asked me if I had saw myself in a relationship with him, and I told him yes, but we did need to meet in person. We could have wonderful conversation on the phone and wonderful phone chemistry, but you need to meet in person and see if there's a connection in that way.
Right.
I'd wanted to go on a cruise with him, and I was going to totally foot the bill. I had sent him an offer that I had received for a trip. I told him to pick one, let's go. Oh, he also accused me of being a gambler, which, yeah, I enjoy going to the casino with my friends on occasions. We'll meet up, we'll have dinner, we'll have fun. Um, but absolutely no problem. It's just for fun and entertainment. On the other hand, one of the cash apps that he had sent me said Florida when I was going through it, and I couldn't figure out what Florida was. What is Florida? Well, Oni enjoys betting on parlays. He does it often, and I guess he had won. He was playing against Florida, or betting against Florida, and so he had sent me a portion of the winnings, which was like $18. So that's what that was.
Right. Um, yeah, and as far as me being a nymphomaniac,
Oni said I never reciprocated anything um, as far as helping him in any way. And I explained, when I initially came on, that I helped him with a matter that took me many, many, many hours, multiple 60 plus documents that I printed out. Some of them were even hard to read. He was going to mail me the packet of the documents so that it would be easier to read because the way that he texted them to me, it made it difficult for me to read some of them. I was able to help him connect with individuals that he didn't know how to connect to regarding the legal matter. Um, yeah, I worked hard on that with him to help him as a friend. As a friend. He wanted to pay me, and I said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It was just a friend thing. I was helping a friend.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I don't know if there was any other. I imagine, he's probably going to go make his little cartoon videos and stuff right now, or his little cap
Yeah,
cut, whatever it is that he's going to do to retaliate.
I did.
Who knows? At this point, he might be retaliating to bring out more personal information about me because, when you trust someone and you're building a friendship, you think that you can just tell them things, and he has proven to me that you can't. You know.
Well, not all men are like that, Christy. You and I talked about this. There's going to be a man out there when you're ready. There's men that are very trustworthy. This was an experience. It's a lesson learned. We learn from our experiences and we build on those and we move forward in our life. And that's what this situation has been for
Let
both of us.
let freedom ring. You're absolutely right on doxing not being okay, and I have had his address since the end of July, and I have not shared that with anyone.
Someone mentioned Chris Mostel. I do want to bring this up, Jack. Chris has I haven't been watching him much. I think he's been going live here and there. Now, someone had mentioned in KK's live that they had contacted the sheriff's department to see if an investigation was actively going on regarding the Loki situation, and they showed KK showed a video with a web page. That web page was actually like case search, where you go on to see what people have been charged with. That was not, if there's an investigation going on, it's not going to be on a public website. An investigation is confidential, so it would not be posted there. I absolutely did contact the detective, and I did write a very professional letter to him, and I can only do what I can do from my end. I do believe that they had around 9,000 calls last year for their department. They have to pick and choose what they investigate, similar to if you go into an emergency room, the nurses triage the patients and they decide who goes in to see the doctors first. So I have no control. It's out of my hands. I did the best that I could do with a Loki situation, and the email also provided a link to videos that I put together to show the evidence to him, and whatever decision that they chose to do, that's up to them. I can't force anyone to do anything. I can only provide what I can provide, and they seem to take the situation very serious when I spoke with an officer and also a detective. Spencer, I was just asking a question. Someone had asked a question about Chris, and it reminded me of something that was brought up in KK's Live. So the page that the person had posted is not any place that you could go and see where there's an active investigation. An active investigation would not be posted anywhere. Yeah, no problem, Jack. I'm trying to think if there's anything specific that we need to make sure that we cover since we're here together. Um, I appreciate Christy very much. There's one point in time where I didn't think highly of her at all. I thought that she was a bad person. I thought that she was begging and taking advantage of my friend, Oni. And I was very upset that I felt that I was led to believe, let's put it that way, that someone was taking care of or taking advantage of my friend.
Yeah, even after even after he told you he was using me, so that,
He did. He
you
said that,
know.
yes, he told me that he was using you um, like you used him. That were his exact words. He's using you like you used him.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, when he first started going live, there were a lot of questions he had about TikTok. There was a lot of things that I walked him through, settings that I helped him to fix, even on his backup account. Um, and just being on the phone, walking him through those things. And I'm not saying that that service was worth, any money, but I wasn't using him. And if I had known that his quote unquote acts of kindness, or
Hmm.
his quote unquote generosity came with such a high price tag, and that he was saying all the things about me behind my back that he was saying, I would not have given him the time of day. And I definitely wouldn't have ever received anything from him.
Yes, there were so many things he wanted to send me. He wanted to buy me um, spy glasses. There's a certain
Hmm.
type of glass that we use in my field. He sent me leaks. He wanted me to choose some. And I'm like, okay, I'll look through them and, see, if it's something I think that, I would like. But I wouldn't get back to him about it just to dismiss it because I didn't want him sending me these gifts. It was nice and I did appreciate it, you know. but I didn't need him to do that. And it did make me feel uncomfortable. It really made me feel uncomfortable. I've voiced that to him so many times. Shortly after we had started talking again, after um, he had stopped talking with you, he
Attention span.
we were laughing because my desk chair squeaks, and he wanted to buy me a new desk chair. He started sending me links to these expensive desk chairs. Some of them had like footrest on them. They were very expensive. I'm like, no, 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 no. You're not going to buy me a desk chair. No. So it was like he was persistent. You know, I don't know. My advice is if you're trying to impress a woman, just always be honest and genuine and sincere. That's what a woman wants.
Yeah, I mean, even there were times I was being on the phone with him and I see something funny happening. My son is pulling the wagon, one of the tires is flat. I was like, oh my goodness, my son just pulled that wagon with a flat tire. It's funny. I wasn't dry begging for a new tire for the wagon, but immediately, well, tell me what size it is. I'll order you one off of Amazon. And I
Yeah.
said, no, I'm not going to do that, you know?
Mhm.
So I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't. We got the tire fixed anyway. It wasn't, but I mean, the fact that he was constantly offering, it, the times that I did accept what he sent, is probably more than what he offered, but there were still times that I said no. And
Mhm.
like I said, if I had known that all of this was going to be the way that it was, I definitely would have never received anything from him. And I was apprehensive about it for me to have to wait an entire month and him to spin it every which way that he could until he finally got me to accept it because it was, well, I would have given this to you for moderating and or I wanted to give you a gift in a live, but I didn't want TikTok to take all of it and all of that. Then it was like, okay, well that doesn't seem so bad. That doesn't seem unreasonable, you know. Because a lot of people
Mhm.
complain about the 60% that TikTok takes. But yeah, definitely lesson learned on that one. Um, and if you guys are going to take Oni up on the Cash App for these videos, instead of him getting in trouble and going to jail for spreading someone else's private images around, just go ahead and let me know what you need, and I'll see what I can do. I'm kidding. But anyway,
Can
um,
you imagine, you all as a woman or even as a man, trusting someone to the point where you're sharing explicit videos with someone and then they go and share them with another person?
yeah, to
I don't
find
know
out
what to
that that was
do.
done almost immediately, and it was done to try and make you
And
jealous because
laughing,
I have
laughing while he was sharing it, laughing like, oh my
exactly.
God, you've got to see this. Like, it is so wrong.
Yeah, yeah, and he's 56 years old as far as I know. The
I did not
whole
know
or
about
57.
his.
He just had a birthday.
Yeah, and I didn't. He admitted to me eventually that he was a felon. He shared the situation with me. I didn't know about all the other things that he's been involved in.
But yeah, I mean, I looked everything up, and I never shared that with anybody because I mean, when he invited me to come to Kentucky, I'm not even going to remotely entertain the idea if there's a possibility that somebody has a history. I still have children, and I have my grandchildren. So if there's any possibility that there's been any kind of record when it comes to those types of things.
Mhm.
So yes, I looked up his record early on. I just never said anything to anybody. It wasn't anybody's business.
Yeah, and me within my profession, I didn't. I mean, that should prove to people I don't go around like pulling people's shit because that's just not how it works. Um, but I was very surprised to learn of that. I was surprised that he never mentioned it to me.
Right. Yeah, get chairs and washers. Chairs and washers for everyone. What was it? Was it Oprah that used to do that? And you get a car, and you get a car, and you get a chair, and you get a washer.
Because it was
Um,
kind of like a joke. When Oni would have the women in the lives, and I would joke with him, oh, that's going to cost you like a new hybrid. And it was just a laughing joke. At one point, he was going to owe me some other type of electric car, just jokingly, having his ladies in his life. I had encouraged him to do what he wanted to do on TikTok. Have fun, enjoy yourself if you enjoy doing it. Certainly didn't.
Thank you, Tina, for coming in.
Now, the situation with that dryer, um, he did order me a dryer, and I have the messages. I didn't ask for the dryer. As a matter of fact, I needed something just on a temporary basis. And so I had actually ordered I usually hang my clothes up, but sometimes some things I want to dry faster. So on a temporary basis, I needed something. So I ordered one offline. It's one that you just hang your clothes on and there's like a bag that goes over it. It blows warm air and dries your clothes. So I had ordered that, but Oni insisted that I have a dryer, and he told me, I got you a dryer. And I'm like, no, you did not. Do not do that. Those are expensive. And I think the first one was, I can't remember the exact price. One was 90 something. He claimed that he got scammed on that dryer. Um, it wasn't delivered. And then so he told me he was buying a second one. I believe he got that from eBay. And it's just a very small dryer. Like you can put like maybe two towels in it. Um, but I usually dress comfortably when I'm at work. So leggings, tank tops when I'm, going to be in my car for long periods of time. So I can usually dry a few things at a time in there. But it wasn't like, a big Maytag dryer or anything like that. But it was nice that he did that. I was grateful. I didn't ask him for it. I don't want to act like I didn't appreciate something that my friend was doing for me.
Right, but to have the narrative twisted on you that you know,
Rob's
that
World wants a dryer.
you
Rob's
needed
World, do
to.
you live in a camper? Because if you do, it's actually perfect size for a camper. G Unit. Hey, how are you?
Well, I might need your Fourth of July T-shirt for next year since I don't have a sugar daddy to buy me one.
The 4th of July t-shirts, and those are the ones that KK showed in her live. So he sent me a message. He called me Holmes, which I think he calls a lot of women Holmes. And he's like, Holmes, you've got to have a 4th of July t-shirt. And he started sending me links to t-shirts. And he's like, pick one. I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm not going to let you buy me a t-shirt. And he said, if you don't pick one, I'm going to pick for you. So I'm thinking, well, okay, if he's going to get one anyway, it might as well be something that I'll actually wear. So I sent him a link, and it was like $13 for the shirt. It was like very inexpensive. And then he messaged back and he said, no, you need to get a more expensive one. And he gave me brands of t shirts that I needed to look at. I'm like, nope, this is fine. So that's what I ended up getting. It wasn't anything like he made it out to be. Glad to see you, G Unit. SP recently was arrested. I actually haven't even had time to look any of that up. So I know very little about it. I believe it was on a traffic, driving under suspended license or something like that. Yeah, there were definitely red flags along the way. Christy and I, through our conversations together, can now look back and, identify more than what, we were suspecting during our relationship with Oni. And, sometimes when you have someone that you feel close to, that you care a lot about, and I cared a lot about Oni. He was my friend, he was like a best friend. And you overlook things because you only want to see the good in your friend.
Right, exactly. And my biggest problem is, and it shouldn't be a problem. It really shouldn't, is that I see the hurt and I see the pain that people have been through, and I make excuses for their behavior, and it always ends up biting me in the butt. I will ignore my intuition, and I will go ahead, you know, and walk down a dark corridor,
Yeah,
when I should have just listened to my gut to begin with.
that's right. Always, yeah, we should always listen to our gut and our instinct. And Catherine says, I know when you think somebody is your friend and they turn around and stab you in the back. Yes, it's like extreme betrayal. I
Yeah,
felt betrayed,
the
and I was a
the
good friend.
sinister, just the fact that it seemed so sinister that he was trying to pit us against each other. And then, talking to me about her, talking to her about me, and then trying to make it seem to her like I was obsessed with her, trying to make it seem to me like she was obsessed with me. Um, it pardon my French, but it was a brain fuck. It really messed with my head, as I know it had to have messed with hers as well. And
Will,
he got nothing but pure joy out of that.
yeah, and Will is spot on. Certain men will send you gifts to give you a sense that you're obligated.
Exactly. Exactly, because it, I know how it all unraveled, and I know that I to come on here and to be brutally honest about my own dirty secrets, my own dirty laundry, and airing it out for everybody on here to see is not an easy thing to do. But I also know that the people that know me well enough and love me enough on this app and want me to stay are not going to be sitting there and, pointing a finger at me for engaging in adult activities with someone I thought I could trust.
Actually, I'm going to share the live with Dr. Clark if she's available to come in. She and I had a long conversation about this situation, um, and she's an expert on narcissists. She's an expert in the worst of the worst behaviors. And she had said that she would be happy to speak on those topics. So I shared it out to her. She's available.
Um, Catherine, if the question I'm reading it right, can you call out a narcissist? True question. Um, I'm thinking that they always are going to twist the narrative to be the victim.
Thank you, Catherine. Oh, Bluegill's exposed identity. Apparently, I was being accused of being Bluegill's exposed identity. I'm not that account either. Um, they sent me a message back in June, asking me when I was going live again. They felt that my lives were very informative. So we had had communication as far back as June. I reached out to them today, asked them if they have a problem with me sharing a screenshot of them messaging me, and they said that they have no problem. They said that that account's always being accused of being different people. Let's see, how do I do this again? It's been so long since I've gone live. Do I hit the little pin icon?
Let me see if I can find her.
Uh,
Uh, Dr.
Cynthia Clark.
Let's see, what was her username though? Her username was something different.
Let's see, let me go look.
Miss. MYS.
She may not be available, but if she is, I'm sure she'll come in. Dr. Cynthia Lea Clark.
It's not coming. Oh, there she is. Hang on. I'm sharing it to her right now.
Is that beeping sound my new dryer?
Yeah.
Mine, mine is. It doesn't have even have a beeping sound to it. It has a timer of like 190 minutes long. It really does. And it takes about 190 minutes. It's almost like if you have like a blow dryer inside of it. It's similar to that. It just plugs into a regular outlet, and you can pick it up, move it around. It's tiny, but I appreciated it. I appreciated, the thought in it. I didn't ask for it, but I was grateful for it. If I send a text message when I'm on live, will it disconnect me?
It'll pause you for a moment. The way to bypass that is to allow your pop-up bubbles for your text messages, and then you can respond like that. But it'll be paused for a second. It won't be a big deal.
Okay, let's see. Let me do something real quick. So to show a screenshot, it's effects, right? Enhance and then effects, or
Yes, enhance first when you're hosting.
okay. Let's see. I want to show something.
22 comments were sent in the last 5 minutes. Why not send one too? Thank you, Rob's World, for coming in.
And I was actually very disrespectful to you that night that I came into his live. Like, and I've apologized. Like, Christy and I are good. Like, I felt she was someone very different than what she was made out to be to me. So this right here, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it all, but only September the 20th, I sent him food to his house. They dropped it off at his door. It was like $28. I was being a good friend, feeding him. He enjoys Captain D.
Shaken, not stirred.
There is Blue Kill's exposed identity, and that was back in June. They said, "When is your next live?" They're very informative, interesting.
Love you, Judy. Good night, sweetheart.
Yeah, only wasn't upfront and honest with me about things about himself, and also mm, I don't even know how to say this. I'm not going to say it, but he knows that he wasn't honest about things. Yeah, I don't have like an issue. Like, I don't know Bluegill enough to have an issue with her to, go and make a whole account about her. I don't have time to do all that. I'm constantly accused of being SP Save the Children. That's not my account. That is not my account. I'm not the only person who doesn't agree with how KK and other members over there within that group conduct their awareness. There are other people that also don't agree. I just always get accused of everything. But they
Yeah,
definitely jumped the gun when he ran to them, like, "Oh, I got information." He had told you he was switching sides.
he did. He sent me a message on, and I'm going to quote the message. He sent me a message on October 11th.
Yep,
Did
count.
you go live? I said no. He said, oh, wait a minute. That was a different October 11th. He said, fuck you all. I'm switching sides. So at that point, I'm like, what happened? I think that I was supposed to be in his live the night before, and I had fallen asleep, and I was not in there. Other times, he had said other things like that to me. So it was like I never knew when he was joking. There was one time that even though he said he never talked dirty to anyone, there was one time after we were not having intimate conversations anymore that he had said something, and I was like, "How drunk are you?" And he said, "Very." So I was like, "Okay." And I don't want to have to put those screenshots out there, you know, but I can, I think that going into all the sordid details of whatever relationship we had is not necessary to dissect and put out there and pick apart by everyone. I mean, he's already made it very plain that, gee, I had an ex-boyfriend and I'm married, and so he's just in it to try to make me look worse than he's already tried to make me look, but it is what it is. It was what it was, and I'm not into wanting to delve into all the he said, she said business of all of that, because then we could all be here for hours. Lord knows that we've picked this apart for, a good probably 40 hours at least, that we've tried
Yeah.
to, piece everything back together, piece our brains back together and go, what in the actual heck just happened?
Yes.
So the fact that he was, you know, pitting me and truth tellers against each other. And then when that didn't work, he said he was switching sides and he went straight over to KK or whoever. I don't know who he went to first. I don't know that. I don't know the back end of everything. I know somehow KK held alive. I don't know KK. I don't know most people well enough to even have an opinion. But I do know that him jumping the gun and taking all the private information and just willy-nilly sharing it with people when he would not want the same thing done to him, kind of feels a little bit hypocritical.
That's right. And
Hey Jay.
during a time that you were in a live, and this was after you and Oni had had the first, falling out, you were talking about me. You and Sassy were in the live. Y'all were discussing somewhat of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, an account came in named Strawberry. Sassy thought that that was me.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
thought it was.
I'm
Yeah,
not.
I thought it was you also.
Yeah, Strawberry has actually come into my lives, being very derogatory. So I knew that at that very moment, I'm like, okay, so they've learned that there's someone on the app who knows me on a personal level. So now they're going to be fishing for information, which I believe is exactly what happened. At one point, Oni had gifted Doug. This was around mid September.
Mm-hmm.
They began making, there's a group that began making videos about Oni gifting Doug, and Oni was very, very upset about it. He was furious about it. He told me he was going to get to the bottom of it. He was going to find out who it was. And he even texted me saying that he was getting unalived threats. And I have those text messages.
Mm-hmm.
So part of me was like, okay, is he that weak of a man? He's now being bullied, so he's just going to join the bullies so that he's no longer bullies because he literally couldn't handle a few videos being made about him.
He couldn't handle being called a pervert and all that too. I mean, that video was put out. He was being called a pervert. He was very upset about that. And I mean, it doesn't seem like it took very long after videos and ridicule were coming against him for him to say, "That's it, I'm switching sides."
Yes, because KK had posted a video about him just very shortly, like what, within a couple of weeks at the most, I believe, about Oni. It's on my page. I posted it on my page. And so within a very short period of time, she has him in her live and she trusts him to share stories with her.
Exactly. She was being handed on a silver. Yeah, Sassy is clarifying that she did not think that strawberries was you. She said she wasn't sure. I was asking, I thought it was, and then she reminded me that strawberries came at me in a different live that Sassy was not in.
Yeah, strawberries has come at me also, during my lives. And there was another account that came in that was a Chris Tell the Truth account. It was a fake account that was during one of Oni's lives. Um, they thought that that was me that was in there. It wasn't me. I'd messaged Oni. I told him the next day, I said, those accounts are not my accounts. I said, if I have something to say, I'll come in on my main account and I'll say it. But I really just, I just wanted my peace.
And blueberries, yeah, I remember there was a blueberries too.
Yeah, that's not me. I don't have time for all that. I really don't. I don't know, maybe KK has time to do all the stuff that she does, but I work full time plus. I don't have time for it. I have no desire. No desire. I don't have time for it. It's a lot of work, just having, one account, much less
Right.
a zillion burner accounts that are actually active and posting videos on multiple accounts. Takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Catherine, I believe, was a video made of you, Catherine, accusing you of being me with your other Catherine account? Yeah, and he also told KK, I guess, that I talk about her constantly. I don't talk about KK constantly, not at all. Not at all. But she did make a video about you, Catherine, and she blasted it. She knew what she was talking about, if as if, let's see, I can't see the rest of that.
She blasted it like she knew what she was talking about,
Got
is
you.
what she said.
So for the record, that other Catherine account is this Catherine that's in my live. That wasn't me. Just, people shouldn't just jump to assumptions.
No, I'm pretty transparent about my accounts.
Right. That
Um,
shouldn't have done that to you, Catherine. Christy's been very transparent. Um, you know, I reached out to her and she was very receptive to speaking to me because I knew that, we needed to figure this out because something wasn't right. And the only way we were going to be able to find out the truth was by speaking to one another. So that's what we did.
yeah, exactly. I think we both kind of regretted not, being able to talk about it sooner,
Hmm.
but we had to reach that point where we were receptive to be able to talk to each other without a biased, opinion based on the untruths that we had been told about each other.
Right. And he had accused me in my last text message that I sent him of threatening him. I've read the text message in full. I posted it in full on my page. Those are my words. I did not threaten that man at all.
No.
Matter of fact,
As a matter of fact, anyone can see the text messages that he sent to me are on my backup, Crispinity. There are two videos showing where he was telling me to get off the app, that he was going to rain down on me, that they were going to, you can read the text messages there. It's in two separate videos, plus the receipts of everything that he sent me
mhm,
is also on there. I'm not hiding anything. I did not dry beg for those things. And I am more than happy to pay him back. I offered to do so, and he refused um, on two different occasions when I offered. So nobody is going to make me feel like they own me.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also not going to intimidate me to get off the app. If I make a choice to get off the app, it's going to be my choice. It's not going to be because I've been bullied to do it.
That's right. He had responded to me. He told me, "Don't ever try to intimidate me." Um, let's see. I'm trying to see the full message. I don't like to share personal screenshots of personal messages. I don't mind reading what it says.
Thank you, Jody. I agree, Will. Um, and there's really no telling. You know, I know that he is all about perceptions and wanting everyone to see him in a certain light. And when those perceptions get skewed, um, I'm not going to talk about the psychology of it, but because I'm not qualified to do that. But either way, it's been an adventure. You know, it's been an
Yeah.
adventure.
Yeah, I wanted to check one of the text messages out. So if I go out to look at a screenshot that I have, will
Hmm.
it kick me off? If I go in,
Um, it might pause you. It'll pause you. It shouldn't kick you completely off.
okay, give me just 1 second, you guys. I'll be right back. I just want to check something.
Welcome, Pat. Thank you for joining the live. Salty Dog, welcome. Allison, welcome. Yes, Jay. It's been a long time in the making. Um, if you want me to give you a summary, I can. If you are not wanting to even know about the drama, then it's up to you. Um, basically, um, Truth Teller is here that I'm a guest of right this minute, and I were being talked to by the same guy for the period. I mean, he was friends with her for about a year, and then accused her of romance scamming him. And then when he was talking to me, he was adamantly swearing up and down that they were not in a relationship. So I don't know how he got romance scammed if he was adamantly swearing to me that he was not in a relationship with her. So just a lot of stuff has transpired in the last few months and come to a head just recently. I don't like TikTok drama, but here it is.
I wanted to find that screenshot of his response to me because it wasn't very kind at all. Oh, I was going to suffer the consequences. That's what it was. Something about don't ever come at me. You will suffer the consequences now. I believe that was around the time, that was when the picture was released. And I guess he thought that I released his picture, which I didn't.
Right. Yeah, I could go through and show. Let's see.
Oh, Jay, there's Jay's lost.
Yeah, poor Jay. He's not. fully caught up with. Tried to give him a very brief gist of it. You know that you got accused of being a romance scammer, and all the while he's talking to me, telling me that you and him are not in a relationship.
Is Jay the one that would go into Oni's life that was a police officer or worked?
Yes, he's worked law enforcement and now is emergency services.
Yeah. I don't like to share I could share what he has said about Jay, but I'm not going to do that publicly.
Oh, I didn't know that. See, that's not nice.
Lots of stuff about
Jay,
people. Lots of
Jay's
stuff.
a good guy. And you know, one of my first instincts, I'm just going to be honest right now, about it because I don't care what anybody one of my first instincts was that he felt like an information gatherer. Even
Yes.
when I first started talking to him or first started going in his lives, it was almost like he would ask about different people in the different circles of people that I was involved with. Like he wanted to know about them and he wanted to know, the dirt. And he would say things like accusing people of certain things and saying they were drunk or something like that, which is, the pot calling the kettle black. But just things like that. And I'm going to say 90% of the time, I try not to be someone that says negative things about people. I mean, I'm human. I've done it, you know. Um, but it was almost like he was digging for information, which made me question his motives as things progressed a little bit. And with him, blocking me and stuff on a couple different occasions, thinking, was he just using me for information and I didn't give him what he wanted, and so then I was of no use? It made me seriously question because he didn't come off as that personality type to begin with.
Hmm.
And so it made it very difficult for me to decipher what was even going on. And I think I needed to know beyond a shadow of a doubt, which I'm glad it only took, a couple months to figure it out.
Goodness. Instead
As
of a year. Yeah.
Yeah. But for the most part, I tried to stay emotionally detached.
Hmm. Well, when I first started talking to him, he had asked me if we could talk off app, if I could call him, and I finally agreed to do that. I explained to him, due to the nature of what I do on here, that I was going to be very, very careful. He understood that.
Hmm.
And then we just continued to talk and, our friendship progressed.
Yeah. And I look back at when he was asking me for my phone number. I asked him if he said his whole excuse for even wanting my phone number was because he had a video that he made it and he didn't know if he should post it or not. So he wanted my opinion on it. And I was like, well, he's like, how can I send this video to you? I can't send it to you on TikTok. And that was before we were able to send pictures and videos on TikTok. And so I was like, well, do you have WhatsApp or Snapchat? And he's like, no, I guess I can download WhatsApp. And then it was like, well, I guess you don't want to give me your real number. And so then, against my better judgment, I was like, it was the whole, I don't know, feeling like I was hurting his feelings by not giving him my real number. And I'm like, okay, and so that was how, things progressed from being in the DMs on TikTok to him having my phone number. And then once he had my phone number, he had access to a lot of information simply because, I mean, it wasn't very long that he found out that I had that Chime account that
He,
was tied to my phone number.
yeah, he accused me of seeking out your phone number because of my profession.
Yeah, see, and my phone number is not even associated with my name. So, how he to give my phone number out, you know, after promising, oh no, I would never do that. I don't do that. I don't do that.
Yeah, so he lied to her, made it seem as though I'm the one who seeked her out, went to get her phone number when her phone number isn't her phone isn't even in her name. And I wouldn't have done that anyway, but
Yeah, where he had given me screenshots of your address. There was a phone number on one thing that he had sent, that information that he gave me to look up on the internet, things like that. And all of that information was deleted off of my phone well over, a month before you and I even started talking. Because I didn't want that personal information. I mean, I know that just by looking at his address on PayPal, two times it's burned into my brain, but I do that when I feel like I have to protect myself. And he was making it seem like you were a threat, and I didn't want to memorize that information about you. But the rest of the stuff, like the cash apps and things like that, he sent me. I still have screenshots of those, and those are the same things that were shared in the live about you that KK held. So those came from him, you know.
mhm, yep.
Welcome, Spence P. So that was when I started getting suspicious when he sent me the screenshot of you saying, you tell her to pay you back, and this and that and the other. I thought, wait a minute, he didn't send me the full page of what was sent. He tried to make it seem like, you know, that
Mhm,
was all one-sided, and I'm like, there was only one way that you could know that he sent me, the $10 and the $20. There was only one way that you could know that, and that was if he told you,
that's right.
you know.
And when I
And then,
questioned him, because something seemed off to me, and I questioned him regarding the text message of yours and his that he sent to me, and that's when you needed to travel several hours away
mhm,
to get your daughter. Um, and there was a text message just above that, but he didn't show that to me. And in your
right,
text message, you mentioned to him that you still had the $10 that he had sent you from before. So I asked him, I'm like, what was the $10 for? Did you send her $10 did she ask for something? And he's like, well, I can't remember. You know that I just have a hard time remembering stuff. That was always his excuse.
right. Yeah, I've heard that one a lot.
Hmm. Yeah, when he's questioned about something, he suddenly can't remember anything.
Yeah. And he had convinced me that he had wanted to send me a gift on while I was in boxes or while I was moderating his live, whichever one it was. I'm not 100% sure. But either way, it had to do with wanting to send me a TikTok gift and not wanting TikTok to take over half of it.
Yeah,
And so that's how he talked me into even giving him my PayPal. Because he had tried, and I figured, well, if I never share the information with him, he can't send me any money.
yeah. He can't say that we didn't give him opportunity to come in. He can't say I didn't let him up. He never requested a box. He asked for one. He didn't hit the request button. I told him that we were going to get our story out, and then would allow him to come up and he could speak. And he left. So I think he got pissed off when Otto put him in his place.
Yeah, I didn't see a request in the deal.
Mhm.
So
Nope. But he's created quite a spectacle. A lot of problems.
but he had me believing that you were going to come after me for being a dry begging scammer. I went into Verena's live one night. I'm like, well, I'm just here to warn you guys, that, apparently someone's coming after me because, and
Hmm.
everybody that knows me knows. I mean, how many of you have ever even heard me ask for gifts in my life? How many of you have ever heard me or had me text you. I've got a lot of people's phone numbers. If Verena was in here, she would vouch for the fact that I've never asked her for money, that I've not come into their lives and asked for money, you know. So, so for him to try to make it seem like that's what I'm about, and I'm not even a part of awareness, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people that battle on this app, and there's nothing wrong with that. People that want to do that sort of thing. I had the one battle. He did tell me when the situations arose in the group. He said, you get back online." I said, "I'm not going back online. I'm deleting my accounts." And he said, "No, you get back in there." And, you know, then we had the battles that we had with Verena and Gypsy and all that.
I
And
was surprised to see him go off on Gypsy the way he did, and then he went off on Martin, just the way he was speaking to them. I understood that now that he was, defending someone, but still
right.
just the way he spoke to her. And then they go on Martin's live the way he did, just being a badass. Like that was so uncharacteristic from the Oni that I knew.
Hmm. No, I commended him for taking up for Sassy because, you know, people didn't need to be coming at her the way that they did. Um, but yeah, I understand. Even I wasn't there for the way that I've heard how he went at Martin. I wasn't there for that. I wasn't there even the morning that he was in there yelling at Martin to shut up, you know, in Timbo's live one time. So, you know, I didn't get to see a lot of that firsthand. So it was one of those things that, like, even if he was asked about it, he was going to justify it, you know, which I don't know what was justifiable between him and Martin. Wasn't any of my business, but it was justifiable if he thought that Sassy was being attacked to say something, you know.
Hmm.
So,
Well, I think we got our story out, and I know that this is something that I will never involve myself in ever again. So I enjoy making friends, and I do try and choose my friends wisely. But obviously, was fooled. So,
yeah. I'm sure that after we get off here, we'll probably be thinking of other things, but
well, and we can also, if we feel that we need,
we'll make a post.
hopefully this
And,
just ends it all. There
yeah,
shouldn't be any back and forth, back and forth. We're adults. This was all personal, private relationships. And no one should have to ever go live to talk about a friendship that they had, a
no,
personal friendship. Like, I
but
would never want to do that to my friends. I
no,
respect my friendships.
no, I am 100% an advocate for taking care of everything in the background that you could possibly take care of and not bringing drama to the
Right.
platform. But the fact that he had done what he did in calling you out and accusing you of what he accused you of, which I do want to reiterate one last time. If you were romance scamming him, then why in the world would he be telling me that you were delusional when you talked about the cruise or you talked about going on adventures and things like that? He said that you were completely delusional, that he had never spoken to you about those things, you know, that you guys were not in a relationship and this and that and the other. It just didn't add up. So to watch him do all that, I felt like I needed to at least get my side of the story out as well
Hmm.
in order to show everyone that this was a twisted narrative
Very
that
much.
he had painted.
Yes.
So,
And completely unnecessary.
yeah, and I wouldn't have just gone live. I don't like even posting about it. I don't like having the posts up that I have on my page and on my backup with the receipts or with his text messages where he was threatening me. and things like that. I don't, because that's not what my platform is about. I've got my poetry, and it's supposed to be uplifting and encouraging and enlightening. And then I've got my other page that's for my voiceovers and the funny stuff. And it's not, anyone that's known me on this platform for 6 years could look at all my stuff and go, she's, it's never post about stuff like that. I might occasionally on my backup do a post that is about the DMs of the soulmates in your TikTok inbox, and it's just a joke. It's a funny haha, sugar mommy, sugar daddy claims. You can go to a website to verify whether or not they're legitimate sugar people. You know what I mean? They're jokes. And I've never, to have this kind of drama is that I detest it to the point that I wish I had never even spoken to that man.
And the poem that you wrote, or read for him, he had shared with me,
Mm-hmm.
the poem, and claimed that he, was disgusted by it, didn't it made him feel uncomfortable, which was obviously not true because he had you asking you for certain acts multiple times a day, sometimes, right?
There was a couple days that yes, there was more than one conversation that circulated around gratification. So the uh, the very fact that I think after I read one of the poems, he did send me a DM on TikTok, which I've never deleted any of the TikTok messages, that said something, and I this is very crude and very vulgar. I almost don't want to say it. That he had, um, in effect, washed several kids down the drain. You know, so I don't know how he could say that he was disgusted by something, and then that would have been the text message that was left on my TikTok DMs. That
He got enjoyment out of it, but he was just sharing different story, sharing a completely different story and painting a
yeah,
completely different picture.
exactly. As the same way that he was telling me that you were delusional and you guys, you know, were not planning any cruises or any trips or anything like that. It was, he was painting one narrative to you about me, painting one narrative to me about you,
Yeah,
and then trying to pit us against each other. He
yeah,
didn't have to do that. He could have been honest the whole time.
yeah.
Hello, Reckless. Reckless Ryan 89. Welcome and thank you for joining the live.
Well, thank you all for coming tonight and hearing our story. Chrissy, thank you so much. You're a very brave woman. I have thick skin. Um, you have to have thick skin to do awareness on this app. I let very little bother me, but the situation was taking extremely too far, and we needed to share our side. We were put in a position where we needed to share our side. So,
Reckless Ryan, please be careful in California. I wish, God, I wish I was there. I really do. I think I might be able to walk and get some of this Texas arthritis out of my system if I was there for a couple weeks. Thank you so much, kindness. That means a lot. And I'm not playing the victim. I feel like my head is clear and I'm okay. The biggest hurdles, I think, during the entire ordeal, because I was kind of guarded, even though I kind of tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. I was still kind of guarded, So um, I think that was kind of protective, but that doesn't mean that I would never give him the satisfaction of knowing that, that there were times it was very rough. So,
Well, I think we've been a good support system for one another through this.
yes, very much.
Hmm.
When I hit a low point, you actually stayed up all night till I fell asleep, and I woke up and you were asleep. Didn't even realize we were still on the phone together, you
Yeah.
know. So, um, it's helped us to be able to dissect everything and look at it from a whole picture as opposed to just believing what we were being told and having a false narrative presented to us that was very confusing because it wasn't true. So it has been very helpful to be able to look at everything together and go, okay, wait a minute. On this day, this was said and that was done, and this was, and they were like, wait a minute, this doesn't add up.
Yes. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and say goodnight to everyone. And whose gluteus maximus do I need to kick?
I can't tell you publicly, Reckless. I can't dox his information on public platforms. Yeah.
But thank everyone for joining, hearing us out. Um, I've provided my apologies to the awareness community. Um, and this is a lesson learned for me. I will never put myself in this position again, ever, ever.
Yeah. I think that's the important thing is learning from it.
Hmm. Yep. Thank you guys for your support, your kindness in the live. That's very appreciated. Um, thank you for the likes and the follows. I know that Christy and I both appreciate it. You
Yes,
guys.
we do. I
So,
appreciate everybody so much. Thank you guys for hearing us.
yep. And if anyone has any questions that they may not be clear about, you're welcome to message me. I'm sure Christy can speak for herself on that manner. I just really prefer not to continue speaking about a personal, private friendship. But they feel that this needed to come out. It isn't
Mm.
something I would typically do, that's for sure.
Right. I would have rather taken care of it in the background, but like we said, the accusations came in front of what, 300 people, you know.
Mhm.
So it's only right that you get to have your platform public apology to your people, and then at least make some of it more clear as far as those allegations were concerned.
Mhm. Yep. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful night, and see you guys soon.
Okay.
Y'all
Good
sleep
night,
tight.
everybody.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.